Welcome to the Story Learning Podcast, regular doses of language learning tips and motivation to help you become fluent in any language. With me, Olly Richards. For language programs, books, free resources, and much more, visit StoryLearning.com.
Hello and welcome back to the show. If you're learning a foreign language or if you'd like to learn a foreign language, you're in the right place. This is the place where I teach you the strategies, tips, techniques, and tricks, and all things like that work for real people, real busy people just like you who want to learn another language. Today we've got a great question from Alex all about about reading. Not listening, all about reading. Now let's get into today's question, which is from Alex.
Hi Ollie, Alex here from the UK, but I'm currently living in Beijing studying Mandarin and German. When someone starts approaching the B2 C1 stage in their target language, quite a few people think it's a good idea to start reading novels written by natives in order to improve vocabulary and grammar comprehension, etc. And I was wondering what your advice or method on doing this is, because you could either look up every word that you don't know, or you could follow a rule of if the same word pops up 3, 4, 5 times in the same page or paragraph, you should then look that up. Or how do you go about doing it, especially something like Japanese, or in my case Chinese, where you start having characters to look up, and it can obviously take a bit longer. And if you are looking up everything, it becomes more of a chore than a fun activity. So I was wondering what advice you have. Thank you very much.
Okay, Alex, thanks very much for a great question, and I'm sure it's a question that a lot of people are really going to relate to. We've all tried reading stuff in our target language and fallen flat on our face. So thanks for such a great question. Thanks for bringing it up, because I think it's something that we can all learn about. Now, in episode 6, we had a question about reading as well, and I talked about the difference between extensive and intensive reading. Okay, so check out episode 6 if you haven't already. The main point to make about this is that intensive reading is where you would read a text of some kind, perhaps in a textbook, with the intention of understanding every single word. Okay, so you're using it as a specific learning device. Now, on the other hand, extensive reading is where you're basically reading for pleasure. And that's where the aim is to not necessarily learn everything and study everything in the book or whatever it is that you're reading, but rather to try and process large amounts of texts. Okay, so taking in a lot of information, the idea being that you kind of learn naturally. You have exposure to a lot of writing in the language, and things just sink in. So Alex's question is all about reading things like novels, I guess, maybe newspaper articles, things like that, intended for native speakers when you're at the B2 to C1 level. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with that, B2 is essentially upper intermediate, C1 is what you call advanced, taken from something called the Common European Framework of Reference, or CEFR for short. If you'd like to check that out, I'll put a link in the show notes, iwillteachyoualanguage.com/episode 28. But essentially, all you need to know is what he's asking is how do you, when you're already pretty good at the language, how do you use reading to help when it's really tough? Because reading stuff that's intended for native speakers is always going to be tough. It's like watching movies. We'd all love to do it, but it doesn't change the fact that it's really hard. So, listen, it all comes down to the text that you choose. If you try to read something that's too hard, it will be an awful chore, just like you say, Alex. If you try to read something that's too easy, you just won't learn anything. So, there are always going to be strategies that can help you. Things like, for example, getting good at guessing the meaning of the word from context. Things like skimming a text to just get the gist meaning. There are all kinds of strategies that can help you, but at the end of the day, if you choose to read something that's too hard for you, you shouldn't be surprised if it ends up being, demotivating and frustrating. Now, this is especially true if you are learning a language like Chinese or Japanese, which are quite popular languages that have a very, very difficult script, because you may well, when you're reading, you've got all these Chinese characters that you have to process. You may well know those words to speak or to listen to, but you don't know them to read. And again, this is just adding an extra layer of difficulty. Now, I think, Alex, even though your question is about kind of upper intermediate advanced level stuff, I think it applies equally to whatever level you're reading. Even if you're just starting out, if you try to read a text with too many unknown Chinese characters in, then you're not going to be able to do it. So the advice I'm going to give now is essentially, it applies to everybody, no matter what level you're at. So the key is not to focus too much on tips and tricks and strategies for reading, although they are important. What's much more important is to find the right kind of text to read in the first place. This may mean that you have to let your pride take a little knock. If you would really like to be reading native speaker stuff, maybe you just have to wait a little bit before doing that. But the real key is to find something to read where you already understand 90% of what's written, or even 95%, okay? I'll say that again because it's absolutely key. For extensive reading, i.e. reading for pleasure, for fun, you should try to read texts where you already understand over 90% of the stuff that's written. Now, let's leave aside the question for a second of how you find those texts, but the point of this is that because you already understand the vast majority of what's written, that then allows you to focus on the stuff that you don't understand. All right, because again, if the text is too hard, you find yourself glued to the dictionary, and this incredibly frustrating thing of having to look up Chinese characters, for example. That's there's nothing fun or easy about that. Okay, there's nothing that doesn't apply to extensive reading. That's intensive reading. So in the case of any language, you need to find stuff where you already understand at least 90%. For a language with a different script, like Chinese or Japanese, you need to find stuff where not only can you understand 90% of stuff, but you also understand 90% or so of the Chinese characters. Okay, and that's because you have to learn to read the Chinese characters as well, and exactly the same principle applies. If there's too much stuff in there that you don't know, you're not going to be able to process it. You're going to spend too much time with your head glued in the dictionary. Now, in terms of finding texts to read like that, it can be difficult. And in episode 6, I gave a huge long list of reading resources, places where you can find text to read at different levels. So go back and check that out if you want some ideas for where to find these texts. The real point I want to get at is don't just pick something and try to read it. All right? If you're very advanced and you're approaching native speaker level in terms of speaking and literacy, then do that. But if not, you need to spend more time tracking down text at an appropriate level. And if that means you have to read stuff that might seem a little bit easy, well, I think that's fine. And that's the kind of thing that I would do to improve my level. Now, once you've found a text like that, here is the best way to approach actually reading the stuff. So if you've got text at that level, the main point is that you should not need to stop to look stuff up because you already understand 90%. All right. If there's 10% of stuff that you don't understand, well, that's the perfect training ground then for kind of living with a little bit of ambiguity. All right. So if you're reading a book, say, and you already understand 90%, then it's no bad thing for you to be confused by some of the remaining 10%. You need to try to understand as much as you can from the context. And again, this is achievable because 90% of the stuff is taken care of. Now, you will want to look up some words in the dictionary. It's really important that you don't do much of that because it just interrupts the flow. So ideally, what I would be looking at doing is finding something with short achievable chapters that you can get through and process in not too much time. And instead of going through it and looking up everything as you go along, try doing one entire pass of the chapter without stopping once. Okay, so go from the beginning to the end without stopping. Again, obviously, if you've picked up a book with a 50-page chapter, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. So find something that's good and achievable to read. Read the entire chapter through, maybe a couple of times without looking. And what you're trying to without looking up words. And what you're trying to do is just putting it on the map. Okay, getting an idea of the broad picture of the the storyline, of the plot, of the characters, whatever it may be. Once you've read it through a couple of times, because you've read it through, what you're going to get is this good bird's eye view of what's going on. Then that's the time to then go back and start reading in more detail. Okay, so after you've read the chapter through a couple of times, what you might like to do is go back and then start to notice which words and phrases start to crop up over and over again. And I think, Alex, you mentioned this in your question. All right, so rather than stopping and looking up everything, focus on the stuff that comes up over and over again. The reason being, the stuff that comes up over and over again is likely to be very important to the story or the plot, which means if you look it up and you understand it now, it's going to serve you well when you carry on reading further down the line, when you read the rest of that book. So try to limit yourself to a small number of words and phrases. Even better than stopping to look everything up is probably, as you're reading, maybe keep a pen and paper next to you and just write down those words that keep cropping up. And then when you get to the end of the chapter, stop and then look all of them up in one go in the dictionary. So again, you're not interrupting the flow of the reading. You're kind of reading it to completion, and then you stop and look everything up. Now, can you guess what you do then? So you've read it a couple of times, you've read it again, you've written down some unknown words. What do? Exactly. You go right back to the beginning and you read it again. And this time you know some of these difficult words, and so reading it's not so difficult. You then might want to go back and read it again. And again, we're only talking about a chapter of maybe a few pages here. The point is, rather than trying to cover huge amounts of ground, looking up everything as you go along, it's much better to pick something short and manageable and read it many, many times over. Because every time you process something, you get more information out of it. So that is essentially my process for doing it. The important points are that this doesn't work if you haven't found the right text to begin with. So it's really, really worth your while spending time in bookshops, asking for recommendations, maybe looking for graded readers and things like that, which are made especially for learners, and finding the material that's going to support you in your learning. And then once you've got that material, it's taking small amounts and going over and over many times, gradually reducing your uncertainty over the difficult stuff that you're reading, and just gradually fleshing out your knowledge. Now, even better than that, I'd say, if you can live with the ambiguity of those 10% of words that you maybe don't understand, if you can live with that, then you should actually keep reading all the way. Because one of the most important skills with reading is actually being able to say, okay, I don't understand that, but I'm going to keep going anyway. That's a great skill, coping with unknown words. And if you can live with that, then why not try and read the whole book in one go? Because you're going to pick up so much and you're going to gain so much from just covering so much ground. So I hope that helps, Alex. Again, finding the material to read is a different story. Check out the show notes in episode 6, which you can find at iwillteachyoualanguage.com/episode 6, and that will give you some ideas for some stuff online. Personally, I actually like physical books. I find them much more more comfortable to read, basically. And that's it. I hope it's valuable. I hope it's been interesting, and thanks for the question, Alex. If you'd like to leave me a question, please do. I'm always looking for new questions. You can head over to iwillteachyoualanguage.com/ask, and there's a little widget there where you can leave a voicemail question for me, just like Alex did. You can also leave me a question in an iTunes review, which you can do by going to iwillteachyoualanguage.com/review. I always look at the reviews. I love getting reviews. So if you haven't left one from me already, please, please, please do. I would love you forever. And I'd also guarantee to answer your question that you leave in the review. Now, at the end of every episode, I like to leave you with a resource of some kind on the topic of the show. And you may have heard a couple of episodes ago, I put out a little bonus episode to let you know about this book of Spanish short stories that I've actually just created and released. And I'm going to mention it again now because, you see, in Alex's question, really the only thing that's holding him back is finding the right kind of material. Because I think I get the impression that he's trying to read stuff that's a little bit too advanced for him at the moment, so he's having trouble coping with the number of Chinese characters. if he can find something that's just a little bit closer to his level, that's better pitched at exactly what he needs right now, suddenly the reading experience is going to become totally different. And I've created a book of short stories in Spanish. Unfortunately, it's only in Spanish at this stage, but I will be building it out into other languages. And I've created it specifically to help you with these problems. So I've got very short chapters. I've got all the words defined. I've got word lists in English and Spanish. I've got summaries of the chapter. It's designed to support your reading all the way. And I'm creating this series specifically because people find it so difficult to read. So if you're learning Spanish, or if you already speak Spanish and you'd like to check that out, just head over to Amazon. It's on the Amazon Kindle platform. You can get a physical copy as well, and it's called Spanish Short Stories for Beginners by Olly Richards. That's Spanish Short Stories for Beginners. It does exactly what it says on the tin. It's a book of short stories for beginners in Spanish. And if you'd like me to create that in another language, why not drop me an email? I'm actually collecting the number of recommendations or requests that I'm getting. And whatever's the most popular, I'm going to create next. So you can get hold of me at olly@iwillteachyoualanguage.com. So Alex, thank you very much for your question. I hope this has been valuable. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode of the podcast.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. And here at Story Learning, everything that I do is powered by stories, whether that's writing books, teaching lessons, crafting courses. My mission is to help everyone succeed at learning a new language through the power of story. And we now have comprehensive language courses in over 15 languages, from Spanish to French, Korean to Japanese, and across all levels from beginner to mastery. And you can take a 7-day free trial of any of these programs by visiting storylearning.com/courses. I've poured my heart and soul into creating these courses over the last 10 or so years, and we've helped tens of thousands of new students achieve their dreams of learning a new language, all through the power of story. So go ahead and take a free trial. There's no commitment. You can try out our method for free. See if this can also be the breakthrough for you that it's been for so many other people. storylearning.com/courses.